in this capital city of marble monuments, visionaries cast a shadow long and wide. Here, enduring memorials like the wall remind us that out of loss there can be healing for those who return from war forever changed.
Hi, I'm Mike Walsh, and I served in Vietnam from April 1967 to April 1968.
For the first time in decades, Mike Walsh of Germantown, Maryland, recently dusted off his old projector. He's looking at pictures he took while serving in Vietnam. This 19-year-old Army specialist operated a boat that ferried supplies up and down the Mekong River, an often harrowing assignment.
We received our fair share of fire from the shore.
It's what happened to Walsh on the very day he went home that still haunts him.
There's a slide in there of a place where we used to go when we were off duty. And the day I left, it was hit pretty hard. And I don't know what the total number of guys killed was, but 4 guys that I had had lunch with that day were dead. That question has run through my mind 1,000 times since. Why did I get to go home early? And these guys didn't.
Walsh returned stateside to a nation in turmoil. To distance himself from what would turn out to be significant PTSD that he still struggles with, Walsh made a decision he regrets. He threw away everything: his military uniforms, medals, dog tags, boots, and even the letters he sent home to his mother.
I just wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted to put Vietnam behind me, forget about it, never think about it again, and move on. Of course, at that time, I didn't know I had PTSD, and I didn't know I had diabetes, and I didn't know I had kidney disease. I just wanted to move on with my life and forget that that ever happened.
His significant health struggles now, the result of his unknowing exposure to Agent Orange during the war. Mike Walsh would discover that he could not undo the residue of war, but he did find a way to cope. For years, he refused to go to the wall, but when he did, he touched the names of his 4 friends killed so long ago, which convinced him to begin a journey of healing.
I'm telling the rest of the story, if you will.
When Walsh retired from teaching in 2009, he embarked on a photographic pilgrimage to Vietnam War memorials.
Yeah, it's why I get up in the morning. This is what I do.
His first picture, Mississippi. From there, he's been to Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, and beyond. His favorite, Missoula, Montana. He believes the angel lifting up this dead soldier is also a fallen comrade.
I've always insisted that he's one of us. He's a vet. He's one vet bringing another one. I have been to all 50 states. I've been to most states at least twice, some states 3 or 4 times. And I've taken 62,000 photographs.
His blog, A Means to Heal, features nearly 600 memorials photographed in the last 8 years.
I know that it's helped me, and I hear from vets all the time who say that it's helped them.
One veteran wrote to Walsh, "I've been in therapy for PTSD for longer than I care to remember, but after seeing your site, I know I'm going to get well."
I try to prep myself. It's always emotional.
Mike Walsh recently had one final emotional hurdle that took him morning, noon, and night to clear. For all these years, he's avoided the memorials closest to his heart.
We're headed over to the University of Maryland, my alma mater.
The memorial nestled behind UMD's chapel.
It's over here. I see it.
Reminds him of a painful and complicated time. He attended this university right after the war and was not always made to feel welcome.
I understood, I think, some of what the students were feeling. Nobody knew why we were in Vietnam. This site is dedicated to the people whose lives were touched by the fire of the Vietnam War. I've never quite heard that phraseology before, and I really like it.
Oddly enough, the memorial with the deepest impact on Mike Walsh's life hangs inside his elementary school in Silver Spring.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
It's down a hallway. He has not walked in more than 50 years.
We went to kindergarten right down the hall here.
This is where he met his first friends, guys like John Liverman, Kevin Coyne, and Frank Streaks.
Oh my goodness.
Those were the classrooms with the chairs?
Yeah.
Desks?
Yeah.
But the sweetness of this day sits beside sorrow,
Show me where this plaque is.
due to the name etched on a small but significant memorial installed here in 1968.
Oh, right here. I see it. Okay. Oh boy, this is dark, isn't it? So this memorial is to Frank Streaks. We called him Trippy. And he was a classmate of mine. He was a Marine. He was killed in Vietnam. The first one of my classmates to die there. Get a close-up of his face here.
Several months after Frank Streaks was killed, Kevin Coyne lost his life. John Liverman died in Vietnam as well.
These were guys I grew up with. These were my neighborhood friends. And to come back all these years later, and this is much more emotional than I expected it to be. This is your childhood being destroyed as far as I'm concerned. I spent yesterday at the VA working on issues that 50 years later are still a problem. Oh, that's good.
So Mike Walsh copes the only way he knows how, by pushing on.
It teaches you how fragile life is.
Some suspect there may be 2,000 Vietnam veteran memorials in America. No one knows for sure. Mike Walsh intends to find out. So we never forget the sacrifice of young men like John, Kevin, and Frank.
And I'm not done. If I can continue to find them, I'll keep going to get them as long as I'm able.
I've never felt so proud to be American than in moments like this.
If it's true that Americans tell time by their presidents,
Hats and shirts, guys. Donald Trump's moment, guys. Souvenirs.
those who gathered in Washington to watch history unfold
I'm pinching myself thinking, I can't believe I'm here.
will not soon dismiss from memory the pride that was expressed
Where else you see this?
and the rage that unfolded
And people are angry.
the day Donald Trump was inaugurated the 45th President of the United States.
And welcome back to our complete coverage of today's 58th presidential inauguration.
Being here is like a dream come true.
As dawn's dust shed a new light on the U.S. Capitol the morning of January 20th,
Souvenirs right here, guys.
A lot of changes are coming. A lot of good changes, I do believe.
a wave of Trump supporters
Good morning.
streamed toward the National Mall.
A lot of young kids here, a lot of families.
Going to the left when you get in there.
Let's make America great again, guys.
Vendor Cedric Washington hails from California.
I went to Obama's first one. And here I am for Donald Trump's first, and hopefully many more to come.
We've been here since about 5:30 in the morning.
Scott Colony flew in from Florida, fully realizing the nation is deeply divided.
We heard there were going to be a lot of protesters here, so we said we're coming up.
10 o'clock in our nation's capital. Another live look there down the National Mall.
This rising tide of support that swept into the White House, a businessman with a flair for sharp-tongued tweets,
I, Donald John Trump,
then watched in wonder as Mr. Trump was sworn in.
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
Because everybody's here for the same reason.
This time-honored ritual of political renewal is familiar to some in this crowd.
Been coming to him since Ronald Reagan.
Jim Parsons, a retired police officer and history teacher from Ohio, has learned a lot in his 6 inaugurations.
It's not that I expect this man to make my life better. That's up to me.
This is awesome!
Together.
And then this self-proclaimed outsider with a proud, politically incorrect persona thrilled Virginia's Wendy Schacht with the slogan that got him here.
And yes, together, we will make America
great again!
Thank God for Trump. I gotta tell you, I think things are gonna be so much better.
The strength of our constitutional republic is, in part, defined by the peaceful transition of power. But what unfolded in the dizzying, anger-fueled hours to follow would turn that truth upside down.
Not my president!
Soon after the inaugural ceremony concluded,
No justice! No peace!
anti-Trump marchers moving down Constitution Avenue
This is what democracy sounds like!
traded insults with Trump supporters.
Build the wall! Build the wall!
But several blocks away, near McPherson Square,
I'm not touching the camera. Don't put it on my hand then.
some were less interested in talking than they were in creating chaos.
This is, again, the intersection of 13th and K Street. The protesters out here have gotten together a bunch of benches, trash cans, as you can see, and have lit them on fire.
Mixed among a large crowd of peaceful protesters.
You can pick the right side of history. It's not too late!
A smaller group, some donned in black, their faces covered, willing to unleash damage.
We saw protesters throwing rocks and bricks at the police, and then they set off like a succession of about 10 concussion grenades. I believe that's part of a concussion grenade.
Filmmaker Jack Guglielmetti watched as a protest turned violent.
Watch out! Rubber bullets!
There were a lot of very, very loud explosions.
Vehicles were vandalized, including this limo. Windows to businesses smashed out. Hundreds arrested. Police in riot gear moved in with a watchful eye above. And remember that limo? Well, someone torched it. While Bedlam unfolded, the momentum of this day marched on. President Donald Trump's parade rolled down Pennsylvania Avenue on time without a hitch. On this consequential day of transformation, we are reminded of a remarkable coincidence. George Washington recited his oath nearly 230 years ago during our country's first inauguration, the only inauguration held in New York City, the place that cemented Donald Trump's legacy as a leader who now resides in Washington. I'm Jay Korff for ABC 7 Stories.